Let's quickly familiarize yourself with the different areas of the commander's HUD. The top left of the screen displays the name of the location you're looking at. Just below that is a small marine icon. You can click this to select all marine players. The icons at the top center display the state of your team's economy. The first icon on the left displays how many team resources the commander can spend. The second icon represents the number of extractors you own. The more extractors you have, the better. Finally, the last icon is your supply limit counter. Some marine structures and all commander-controlled units have supply values associated with them, so it is important to keep in mind the amount of units you have on the field at one time. The logout button on the top right will allow you to exit the command station. On the bottom left is the mini-map of the whole battlefield. You can click on this to quickly move your view to a new location. Above your mini-map are your control groups. You can assign control groups by selecting the units, holding control, and pressing any number between 1 and 9. You can reselect these groups by pressing the number you assigned them to, and snap to their position by pressing that number twice. This is a great way to select them without clicking and to manage your units remotely. Located on the right of your minimap is the ping button. You can click on this and then click on the ground to bring attention to that area for your team. You can do this faster by pressing the middle mouse button. Located nearby is the tech tree button. The default key is J by default. Clicking on this will allow you to review the prerequisites for buildings and research. The small icons along the bottom represent the technology that has been researched or are in progress. Towards the bottom right is a small icon representing the amount of idle workers on the map. You can click this to center on one. Finally, on the bottom right is the command menu. This is where all the actions the commander can perform are displayed. They are represented by various icons. Along the top of the command menu are 3 to 4 tabs. Basic, where you will find essential structures like command chairs and extractors. Advanced, where you'll find structures that research new technology or give you an advantage on the field. Assist, where you can spend resources on abilities that support your team directly, like dropping supplies or scanning for enemies. And Select, which only appears when you left click on a structure or unit. It allows you to give orders to that unit or to activate its abilities. This tab is also where you will find technology to be researched on certain structures. When you select something, there will be a pop-up that appears on the left of the commander menu. This displays information about health and armor of the selected unit. You can issue movement orders to friendlies by selecting them, then right-clicking on a destination or target. This will display a waypoint to a player, give directions to controllable units, and set rally points for structures. It is entirely your responsibility as a Marine Commander to place structures on the map and to get your team to build them. The more you know about these structures and what they are for can help you make better strategic choices. Let's cover the basic structures. Power nodes have 2,000 hit points and 1,000 armor. Power nodes provide electricity to the marine structures and lights in the same room. There is only a single power node in each room, and if it is destroyed, all marine structures in that room will stop working, with a few exceptions. These power nodes need to be socketed at least once before the team can build them. This costs no resources and can be done by placing a marine structure in that room or by selecting the power node directly and clicking on the socket power node command. The command station costs 15 team resources, takes 15 seconds to build, has 3,000 hit points, 1,500 armor, and unlocks research for nano shield and catalyst packs. This structure protects the Marine's commander from danger. It is a very important structure because if all the command stations are destroyed, the Marine team will lose the game. These can only be placed in special spots called tech points. The extractor costs 10 team resources, takes 12 seconds to build, has 3,500 hit points, and 500 armor. This structure is essential to gathering the resources needed to progress in the game. Each extractor provides 1 team resource and 0.1 personal resources every 6 seconds. They can only be placed in particular spots called resource nozzles, also known as resource nodes. The infantry portal costs 20 team resources, takes 7 seconds to build, has 2,250 hit points and 125 armor. It can only be placed in close proximity to a command station. Marines waiting to spawn into the game take 9 seconds to spawn at each infantry portal. It is ideal to have at least 2 of them constructed in order to keep the respawn queue short. The armory costs 10 team resources, 5 supply, takes 12 seconds to build, has 1,800 hit points and 300 armor. It unlocks research to shotguns, mines, and hand grenades. The armory is where the Marines buy new weapons with their personal resources and restore health and ammo at a rate of 0.8 per second. It's a necessary structure in order to proceed further in the technology tree. It can also be upgraded to an advanced armory, which increases the health points by 1,200, costs 30 more team resources, and takes 90 seconds to upgrade. It also unlocks flamethrowers and grenade launchers. The robotics factory takes 10 team resources, 5 supply, takes 8 seconds to build, has 2,800 hit points, and 600 armor. This structure produces max. It is also required to build sentries, and it gives the commander the ability to use Power Surge. The Robotics Factory can be upgraded to an Arc Factory to construct arcs. This will cost 5 team resources and it will take 20 seconds. And finally, the Arms Lab costs 20 team resources, takes 17 seconds to build, has 2200 hit points, and 225 armor. The Arms Lab is where the Marines' weapon damage and armor values can be improved. You can increase weapon damage by 10% per level, Marines' armor values by 20 per level, and Exosuit's armor value by 45 per level. It costs 20 team resources plus another 10 per each level, and it takes 80 seconds to research plus another 20 seconds per level. If there are no operational Arms Lab on the map, these improvements will be disabled. Now moving on to the advanced structures. First we have the Sentry Battery, which costs 10 team resources, takes 5 seconds to build, has 600 hit points, and 200 armor. You can only have 1 Sentry Battery per room, and it requires a Robotics Factory. The Sentry Battery provides independent electricity to the sentries attached to it. This means that if the power in the room is offline, the sentries can continue to operate. The Sentry Turret itself costs 5 team resources, takes 3 seconds to build, 5 supply, it has 500 hit points, and 100 armor. You can only have 3 sentries per sentry battery. Each sentry has a limited 160-degree arc of fire, and they deal 5 damage at a fire rate of 0.15 per second. The Observatory costs 10 team resources, takes 15 seconds to build, has 1700 hit points, and 0 armor. Observatories are very weak devices that passively reveal enemies within its limited radius, and also enables the commander's scan ability. Each observatory has its own distress beacon ability that you can access when you select it, and an armory is required for construction. Phase gates cost 15 team resources, takes 12 seconds to build, has 3100 hit points, and 0 armor. Phase gates can teleport Marines to other constructed phase gates. They are useful for rapidly redeploying your forces quickly. Phase tech research must be completed for construction. And finally, the Prototype Lab costs 40 team resources, takes 20 seconds to build, has 3200 hit points, and 0 armor. It requires the Advanced Armory for construction, and it grants you access to research jetpacks, exosuits, and if you have 2 command stations, dual exosuits. It's important to note that all Marine structures, except for the power node, can be recycled to salvage 75% of the initial resource cost. Commanders have a number of ways to assist the team, but be cautious about using them too much. While your intentions to help your team may be good, the piling costs will hurt you in the long run. The med pack costs 1 team resource. It restores 50 hit points to a Marine who collects it. A Marine can only pick up 1 per 0.53 seconds. The ammo pack costs 1 team resource, and it resupplies all reserve magazines of the equipped weapon of the Marine who collects it. The scan ability costs 3 team resources, requires an observatory, has a duration of 10 seconds, and reveals all alien units at the target radius within an area of 20. The distress beacon ability costs 10 team resources, requires an observatory, and it takes 3 seconds to cast. This teleports all players on the Marine team back to the command station that the observatory is near. You can access this ability at the observatory. Catalyst Packs takes 15 team resources and 45 seconds to research, and can be researched at the command station. It costs 3 team resources per use and has a duration of 12 seconds. Catalyst Packs increases the travel, melee attack, reload, and draw speed by 25% of a Marine or exosuit that picks it up. Nanoshield costs 15 team resources, takes 60 seconds to research, and is researched at the command station. It costs 5 team resources, has a duration of 5 seconds, and a cooldown of 10 seconds. Nanoshield reduces all incoming damage on a target-friendly unit or structure by 68%. Power Surge costs 5 team resources per use, and it requires an operational Robotics Factory. It has a cooldown of 20 seconds and a duration of 20 seconds. Power Surge temporarily restores the power to a target unpowered Marine structure. Equipment Drop requires proximity to an armory or prototype lab respectively. This uses team resources to purchase weapons at the armory or jetpacks at the prototype lab for the team, allowing them to conserve the personal resources. The Marine Commander can control 2 types of units. They are both constructed at the Robotics Factory. The first is the MAC. It costs 5 team resources, 5 supply, has 300 hit points, and 150 armor. The Macs can build structures and repair armor. Only 1 Mac can be assisting a target at one time. The Mac's welder is only 33% as efficient as the Marine's handheld welder. And finally, the ARC costs 10 team resources, 15 supply, has 2000 hit points and 500 armor. It has a travel speed of 2, weapon damage of 450, fire rate of 4 seconds, weapon range of 26, and a splash range of 7. Arcs are mobile siege vehicles designed to destroy alien structures from a distance. They are heavily armored when they are in transit. They move at a slower speed of 0.8 if they are attacked or traveling on infestation. They can only fire the weapon once they are deployed. Once deployed, they cannot move and will lose their armor, making them vulnerable to attack. The Arc will automatically fire the weapon through walls so long as the target structure can be seen by the team. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Technical Operations. The Advanced Marine Commanding volume is coming up next and has a lot of valuable tips and strategies. Hit that subscribe button to be informed when they are completed. Rate it up and share your commander stories and questions in the comments below so that we can address them in the next video. And as always, see you all in the next respawn.
Why am I moving so slow motion?
Jump, jump, jump. It feels like low gravity.
It's low gravity. Draw.